everybody. It's 7 o'clock at this time. If you would please stand. We're going to start our evening with a word of prayer. I'm going to ask Ben Couples to lead us in prayer. Following that, one of our students here at Chester County Middle School, Katie Markham, will step out and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray together. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for yet another beautiful day, Father. We just pray that as we have this meeting tonight, that it may be conducted in a manner that's pleasing to you. Father, just continue to be with all those students, faculty, and staff, Father, that they may continue to have a wonderful school year, stay healthy through the remaining part of this fall-winter season. Father, most of all, just lead, guide, and direct us. Forgive us where we fail you. We pray all this in your most holy and divine name. Amen. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. And tonight we will begin by Director Kilford calling the roll for tonight's meeting.
Shane Connor.
Here.
Ben Couples. Here. Jeff Harris.
Here.
Becky Hutchinson.
Here.
Clay Rogers. Here. Randy Cherry. All present.
All right, all are present, so a quorum is present. We can proceed with our meeting and officially call this to order. Our first item on tonight is to have a recommendation to accept our board agenda.
I make a motion to accept the board agenda.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion regarding the agenda tonight? None. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the agenda is set for tonight's meeting. Next, we have the consent agenda. We need a recommendation to accept the consent agenda.
You have an additional budget amendment that was added to that from the CTE. You see that, just to make sure you know that that's included in the consent agenda. That was added to your stack of papers that was at your desk, Chair. I make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded for the consent agenda. There is no discussion on that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda is approved. The next item we have tonight was, again, since we are meeting here at the Chester County Middle School, our spotlight tonight is going to be presented by them. So we will put our spotlight and celebration on the good things going on at Chester County Middle School.
Okay, well, and again, I'm not accustomed to being on the stage, but Miss Renee Thomas, Mr. Jared Shoemaker present. Are you guys? Okay, there you go, Renee. Thank you for saving me.
Karen, do you or who wants to go first? I'm Karen Callis. I'm Karen Callis, the librarian at Chester County Middle School, and also a member of our Reading Academic Excellence Committee. Recently, we have in the middle school been celebrating different types of academic achievements, especially reading and spelling. We have been challenged by a former student. He was a 5th grader and the older brother of Caden, who led us in our pledge. Last year, he wrote a petition to Mr. Kirk and begged us to become a part of the National Spelling Bee once again. And on his initiative, we have reinstated a membership with the National Spelling Bee. So that would be the Scripps National Spelling Bee. And this year, we registered once again. The first round or the first level of that is to distribute one set of spelling words, which all of the students would study, and then they would participate and compete within their classrooms. Those classroom spelling bees were held this week, and we have some of our classroom winners present with us, and I will introduce them in just a moment. The winners of our classroom spelling bees then will participate next week and I think it's January 31st, in our school spelling bee. The winner of our school spelling bee then will take an online test and compete with all of the West Tennessee region. If you score a qualifying score on that online test, then you get to go to Nashville for our state spelling bee, and the winner of that then goes to Washington to compete in the National Scripps spelling bee. Last year we did have one participant in Easley who made it to Nashville and was eliminated in that round, but that was a very exciting moment for Chester County Middle School. So I will at this time announce and call the names of all of our classroom winners, and if you are present tonight, I would ask that you come on the stage, and we'll make a line on the stage so that everyone can see you. And I'll allow you to, if you choose, to tell us your winning word, okay? For Miss Marisa's homeroom, we have Logan Miller and Callie Lowrance that were winners. As they make their way up the stage, you can just begin to make a line right up here. For Miss Shelton's room, we had Asher Carpenter and Bronix Barham. From Miss Brassfield's room, we had Holland Barker and Tanis Osterfoss. Miss Crumby's room was Dixie Osborne and Lily Miller. Miss Stout's room was Tatum Henry and Piper Kinnear. Mr. Wood's room was Bella Arnold and Novion Lanier. From Miss Bland's room, we had Hannah Mitchell and Gracie Strong. Mr. Hardin's room, we had Lucy Deweese and Abby Miller. Miss Leek's room was Maddox Moraine and Ashlyn Day. Miss Warren's room was Vivian Fields and Samantha Hodges. Miss Ratcliffe's room was Nolan Elway and Jordan Burleson. Miss Beverly's room was Caitlin Dickey and Gibson Irwin. Miss Snyder's room was Allison Barnes and Lily Buckley. Miss Couples' room was Colby Wilson and Emily Helton. Miss Pearson's room was Adelaide Gott and Nolan Socks. Miss Cherry's room was Gabby Anthony and Brett Wilson. Miss Wood's room was DeMarcus Mayo and Zaylen Pugh. Miss Haynes's room was Katie Faulkner and Drake Cooksey. Miss Wilson's room was Presley Ward and Madeline Kelly. Miss Thomas's room was Caden Markham and Zachary Powell. And then Miss McCaskill's room was Nate Stanford and Peyton Dickerson. Can we have a round of applause for all of these spellers? Do I have any volunteers that want to share their winning word?
My winning word was Ohio. OHIO.
I'm Bella Arnold, and my winning word was pandemic. PANDEMIC. Pandemic.
My name is Gracie Strong. My winning word was adaptable. ADOPTABLE. Adaptable.
I'm Hannah Mitchell. My winning word was declaration. DECLARATION.
My name is Gabrielle Anthony, and my winning word was switcheroo. 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 Switcheroo.
My name is Caitlin Dickey, and my winning word was disband. DISBANNED.
My name is Nolan Socks, and my word was slouch. SLOUCH.
My name is Adelaide Gott, and my winning word was waste. WAIST. Waste.
My name is Presley Ward, and my winning word was tote. TOTE.
My name is Caden Markham, and my winning word was stuttered. Stuttered.
All right, thank you all for being here tonight, and you can go ahead and go back to your seats.
Okay. My name is Jara Leak, and Miss Marilyn Stout and I applied for the TSIN, Tennessee Rural Collaborative. There we are. And this is done every year. We're in the 22-23 cohort, and what this is this is getting funds into different rural, that's the word I can't say, rural communities, and giving education with STEM and careers and resources that are in our rural communities available to the students. So that's what we're doing. Maybe. There we go. And so we had to come up with a proposal, and we wrote a proposal to have a STEM after-school cohort. And what we're doing, we got funds from TSIN, and we have looked at our students, and we have 8 students that we are serving right now with these after-school funds, and we are using the state standards that we have for 4th and 5th grade and doing a project after school. So it's not just textbook, let's look at the definitions and everything. They're doing a project. And so our first project that we've just done for a week and a half is animal adaptations. And what we did, we partnered with, we started research with Define Learning, and we had 2 little babies that were sick the first day. So we Google Met with them in the after school program so they could still work with their partners and do research with each other. There's all the babies and the ones who were sick on computers. And our community partners were at the Chickasaw State Park and Pinson Mounds, and the park rangers came in and they talked about the animal adaptations of Chester County and those that we would see, and the kids asked them all these questions, and each one of them picked an animal. And the different projects they had to choose from were nature signs, a flyer, or a matching game. And since we only had a week, actually really 2 class periods for them to work on them, they ended up all doing a sign. And so I want to show you what they have done in this amount of time. Park Ranger Easley, Emma's dad, came and brought the owl and talked about adaptations with the birds and the owls for the birds of prey. They also, Miss Deidre from the park ranger from Pence and Mounds brought all the pelts and the skins and the turtles and snakes into the classroom, and so they were able to have some hands-on learning with that. There we go. So they really loved her because they got to feel a whole bunch of different things with her. And they actually got to feel most of the pelts from what they had. So I want you guys to come up here. All of them but 2 of them are here today. And bring your projects. You don't have to come up on the stage, but if you want to come right here in front of me, if you want to come up here, come on. So Paisley's first. This is kind of what they did. They took notes and drew pictures, and she didn't get to her final project because she was actually, you can go on over there. She was actually helping others with their drawings, but she chose the red fox, and we don't have her final project just yet, but I told her, I said it would be okay because you could still see what some of the things they did.
These are not mine, these are for the 2 kids who did.
So there's Ethan. He chose the skunk, and he's not here today. But they looked at their diet, they looked at their habitat, they looked at cool facts and the adaptations that they have. And these are animals that they can find in their backyard. Anna Lee and her deer. Anna Lee, do you want to say something? You don't have to.
She's been very enthusiastic about her animals.
So hers was a deer.
What was the coolest fact you learned?
The older the buck, the more antlers the tips grow.
Mackenzie's not here, but hers was also the white-tailed deer. Riley had the alligator snapping turtle. Are you going to talk? Okay, she's not going to talk, but I'm going to tell you, these kids were so excited after the first day that we did this, and then the next day they came in and she was sitting there doing research, and she said, well, Miss Lee, this isn't like regular after school. And I said, okay. She's like, I mean, we're still learning and everything, but it's in a different way. It's really fun. I love you. But she was so excited, and all of them did that. When they would leave, they would say, this was so much fun. And that's what we love. We just don't get to do that all the time. Jed, do you want to say anything? No? Hold yourself. They actually have their sign. If you want to take it and show it to the school board members, you can.
Yeah, the park ranger said, the park ranger was about to tell us about the scoots on the turtle, and that's the hexagonal shapes on its shell. And just as she started, he jumped in and he was telling her about them because he'd already done his research. Mm-hmm. What are they for? What do they indicate?
How to tell their age. How to tell their age.
Okay. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
And then Briley did the rabbits. Eastern cottontail rabbit. Do you want to say anything? No? All of these people were raring to go.
They talk the entire time they're with us. The entire time about their
Okay, so Anaya did not have a white barn owl come, so she has the coyote skin on her, but she did the white barn owl. Would you like to say anything about yours? Sorry. And Jared's not here, and he wasn't here today, so he didn't get to finish his, but his was the muskrat. And this is to show you how fast they did it. This was about where we were today before we had after school. and then they have all these finished projects. So
They did the research, they just needed to put it on their posters.
our next cohort will be the week after next, and it's aircraft design, and I will hand it over to Ms. Tell.
Well, we're an Air Force family, and we absolutely love airplanes, almost as much as I love Snoopy. Can you believe that? So the next time we start over with a new set of kids and a new topic to study, and it's going to be aircraft design. And their purpose, their goal for this class is to design a plane for a toy company so that kids would want to buy it. And so they're going to have to make planes that will go, paper airplanes that will go the highest, and which one will go the farthest, and the one with the longest flight in the air. You remember making airplanes. You remember making paper airplane after airplane and trying to improve it. That's what they're going to be doing. They'll also be studying about planes. My husband is an Air Force veteran, and he is now being informed that I'm going to have him come and explain lift, thrust, drag, and gravity as I teach the properties of motion. And then my son, who is about to become a second lieutenant in the Air Force, he's been in there 14 years, he is going to talk to them about the career of being in the Air Force. And my other son is combat camera. He's out now, but he's going to show, we're going to get to watch some of his videos that he made of planes in flight during training and also during exercises overseas. And then we're going to talk about aerodynamics, aerospace, why planes are shaped the way they are. And they're going to build the airplanes. They're also going to build balsa wood airplanes. And we're going to explore the uses of airplanes. So I'm so excited. And I think my 3 guys are too.
That is us.
By the way, we got a grant from the TSIN organization where our school had a donation of $600 for this semester for us to buy supplies and everything, and then we have another $600 coming next semester. Yeah. So, no, just the $600? We got the $600, and we're grateful for that. We're so thankful, and we spent every penny as we could to get things ready for these kids and get them excited about science and math. And we got free T-shirts. Okay, thank you.
Thank you to Renee and Mr. Shoemate and the teachers who presented and the students. I think they did a wonderful job. Let's give all these good work going on here at the middle school for sure. We'll give a moment for those who want to leave, to allow them to leave, and then we'll continue. We'll continue forward now with our meeting after our spotlight and celebration on the middle school. We'll move forward to our delegation portion of the meeting. And the delegation we have this month is Stuart Brown, who is the president of the class of 2023. And he has a presentation or a request for the senior class. So Stuart, you come on down and share with us. You can introduce your
Is it on? There you go. I won't be as interesting as the stuff that was before me. So, like I said, I'm Stuart Brown. I'm the class president of the senior class here at Chester County, and I mean, you can go ahead and introduce yourselves too.
I'm Chrissy Jones. I'm the senior class secretary.
I'm Anna Bolton, and I'm the senior class reporter.
I'm Fonte Burnett, and I'm with Student Council with Chester County High School.
And my vice president, Evans Bailey, had to leave. He's a man of the community. He had to go back to work. He was always great. And so today I just want to kind of talk about this event called Project Graduation. I mean, I know most of y'all know what it is, but if you don't, the president this year is Teresa Connor, and this event will be Monday, May 15th, and it will be following the graduation ceremony, and it will be held at Freed-Hardeman University at the Brewers Sports Center. And what this event is like it's where students of the senior class who just graduated, they can come and they can be in a safe environment, safe and fun environment. We'll keep them off the streets. And once again, that's our goal, is to provide a safe and fun night. So like we as a class can spend one last time together before we go our separate ways into the real world. And our hope is to provide, all kinds of fun stuff like jumpers, games, food, and music at this event. And it will be an alcohol/drug-free event, which will take place. It will start at 10 p.m. Monday, May 15th, and will carry over to 6 a.m. Tuesday, May 16th. And as far as what we've done so far to try to make this possible, we've had a couple fundraisers. We actually had one planned around Christmas that wasn't able to go into full swing because it conflicted with other events, but we've had a hoodie and sweats day at school where we raised over $400, a little over $400. And we also had a Krispy Kreme donut sale that we raised around, I think $3,000 in total was around the area that we raised. And we're also currently working on a pork chop dinner to hand out to the community, like for a fundraiser sometime soon. And we're also planning on having another hoodie day at school and asking for some corporate donations as well. We also have a few other fundraisers coming like later in the spring, but nothing's been confirmed or set in stone yet. And so what I'm here tonight is to request a donation from you all, like our school board. And so in the past, we've had approximately like 50 to 60% of the class show up. I mean, we're hoping that more will come this year. But once again, we just want to provide a safe night, fun night. I'm sure parents will appreciate that. They don't want them going out partying or whatever. And we really enjoy spending time with each other. And we just hope, with your help, we can make that happen.
Do you have a budget amount that you're looking for?
We don't have a budget, not that I know of at this current moment. Just anything helps. We don't have a set limit or set standard that we have to go up to.
Any questions or?
Well, I don't think this class should be denied anything any other class has been in the past, so. It would be good, I guess, if we knew an amount.
In the past, it's been 1,000.
Yeah, 1,000 has been passed.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
everything's more expensive now than it was even last year, so.
Whatever the motion is what we'll vote on, so feel free to.
That's it. We double it. Make a motion, brother. 2,000.
Second. Okay, motion's been made for $2,000, seconded as well. So there's 4 of you, so that's 500 each. If you each can spell a word, we will give you $500.
We get to pick the word.
Stuart, your word is baccalaureate.
I don't know about that. I may be walking out of here.
All right.
Double or nothing. Baccalaureate.
The motion has been made and seconded to provide $2,000 to support Project Graduation for the class of 2023. Any discussion about that? All right.
I'm sure Jeff has something to say.
What's that?
I'm sure Jeff has something to say.
Just be at church Sunday.
All right, if there's no discussion, no further questions, we will not ask you to spell any additional words. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that is granted for $2,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next on our agenda, we have some board policy and procedure revisions that we need to look at, a couple of them. on these at the same time? Okay.
The first policy is not a policy revision, is the narrative in your agenda shares. They are procedural documents that follow when an outside group requests to see public records at our board office. It happened, like I mentioned in the agenda, it happened during Christmas break. They asked to see a current contract. And in the process of gathering that information for the person requesting, I did some research with procedural steps to take with this process, because it is something that you've got to make sure that, one, the person is a Tennessee resident. You cannot give this information out to somebody outside of Tennessee, and guidance from the TSBA through their policies dictate, or at least give guidance about if you have to make copies or if you provide electronic copies, what would be the additional charge for the hard copies. So what I've done is, in the research of testing out with some other districts in the neighborhood in West Tennessee, and I pulled this off of Tipton County districts, these 4 procedural documents that support it, which are all necessary for the process, because there is a certain window of time that the school district has, or at least is guided to have, to be able to guarantee that they can have access to it first. Public records just simply mean they can see it. Taking it to the next step, like this young lady who is from Knoxville would want copies of it, electronic copies, it gives a little bit more time for the process. But again, in that process, Ms. Carol Oliver is our custodian for those records. They go through my office or through me for approval if they have to be guaranteed or granted that access. But these 4 documents that are listed as 1.407-.1, .2, .3, .4 are all necessary for the process. Whether you grant it, whether you can grant it or deny it, or if you do grant it, does it go beyond the expected time limit to guarantee them that access? And that's why those 4 separate procedural documents are included. We would, based on your recommendation and approval, I would add that to our board policy, so that when we are able to view that on our board policy, you would see that we have access to these 4 areas that we would utilize and be consistent across the state.
Any questions on that one before he moves to the grading system policy? Everybody good?
Okay, for the next, it is an adjustment or revision to the policy 4.600. Again, this past July, the state had adjusted the grading scale for Tennessee high school students. We are using this same grading scale for all grades that have report card grades provided. It's that 10-point scale now. But in addition to that, the state board at their October meeting looked at rules that applies to when you flip over on page 2. It's rules that apply to how many additional points or weighted points can be provided for certain courses that students take and earn credit in. For the point of encouraging our students to invest their high school courses with honors courses at the minimum, moving up to dual enrollment, the ones that we offer even in Chester County High with industry certifications attached to the end of it as an exit exam, and those courses that are what we call AP or advanced placement courses, and then also those courses that we do have at Chester County High for CLEP testing. You see that in addition to that, there is additional points. What has happened from the July policy, which is included in your packet, they have moved the industry search from a 3-point increase to a 4-point increase. And then they included into the 5-point increase for the semester average, the CLEP exams. So a course that closes out or exits course with a CLEP exam that student is entitled to additional 5 points toward their semester exams for that course. Now, additional content is reflected in that same page 2 that says that additional weighting would be awarded when the student takes those exams. You're not granted full point or added points without the exit exam included. And some of the language there that we went back and included again was the last statement on the page 2 of the 3rd paragraph that reads, if the additional weighting is awarded prior to participation in the culminating exam, the LEA shall remove the additional weighting if the student does not participate in the culminating exam by the end of the school year in which the course was completed. Didn't say that they have to pass the test, but they have to participate in that culminating exam. Based on the district leadership, it was, in our view, important to make sure that our language matched what the state board rules and regs reflected in their own policy. So it's my recommendation that we accept this, and this was included after, this is outside of the one that was in your packet, that we include this one as our replacement for an existing 4.600 policy.
So we have a motion to approve both the language in 1.407 and the updating the policy in 4.600 of the grading system.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second motion.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, those revisions are approved. The next item that we have to address tonight on the agenda is a request to approve an adjustment of a zoning map between East Chester Elementary and Jacks Creek Elementary Schools. And to give us a little more insight on that, Mr. Fuels will share with us the purpose of this.
Well, as you have laid out on your table in front of you, we have the current map, which is the one on the left that represents the changes that were made back in 2017 and 18. For the same purpose, East Chester has always been, because of its location, more population that have been in that zone. We have increased Jacks Creek, like I said, in 17, 18, but even today, the population in East Chester has been at capacity since the start of this school year, and Jacks Creek is not. It's been well below their capacity. So I gave the request to Coach Eads, and he recruited also Jonathan Mathis, who works with Echo right now, as their point of contact. Coach Eads, Jonathan have, through the last several years, worked collectively on developing the bus zone routes. So I asked them to see where we could add new zoning to the Jacks Creek community that would hopefully in the future or increase the number of students going to Jacks Creek versus having that at capacity all the time for East Chester. So in your narrative, it does give you an inclusion of the streets and roads affected by that. But I want to give you a visual, and what's on the right side is the visual. What's highlighted yellow represents the new zone that, pending your approval, would start for the 23-24 school year. Again, as I shared to some of you, this would be a grandfather matter that if there's students already attending East now, but if they live in that zone, they can choose to continue to go to East or choose to go to Jacks Creek, their new zoned area. This would be impactful first for those who are entering school for the first time as kindergartners or moving into the community for the first time next year that live in that zone, that they would now, those would be required to go to Jacks Creek.
Is there a motion to address this approval of the new zoning between Jacks Creek and East Chester Elementary? Any questions that you have to ask about?
Well, we don't know how many families there are currently in school, highlighted yellow.
Well, and again, in my view, that Guy McAdams Loop and the housing that is there, those have been those that have had a lot of turnover with new families moving in the community. Then Coach Eads and Jonathan brought in what's south of 100 to include, but no, we don't have a count of how many would be impacted. We're allowing that grandfather clause in there that we can still adjust that as needed. But again, Jacks Creek is currently with 128 students attending there. They can go up to 160.
160 being with the new addition we just done.
Yeah, well, yes, it's based on this teacher count. Yeah, you still got that ratio that you can only go up to 20 on an average per grade, so that gives you, with 8 teachers, 160 students. So you got roughly 40 that you can increase at East Chester totally for the entire school. And again, like I've said before, not counting the pre-K program at East Chester, you're right at capacity with 483 attending East Chester.
So this might not even be, that might not last long, depending on how many families live in the highlighted.
Right.
Yeah.
It benefited us the last time we did it in 2017, but just like what we're doing now, less than 5-6 years later, we're doing the same thing again. So we're not taking giant leaps of faith, you know, because we don't want to overwhelm Jacks Creek because there are limitations there. 160 is 160. You know, we don't want to be in the same circumstance there as what we're now in East. East is much larger capacity, can handle more. But we know that Jacks Creek can increase the size.
Yeah, I make a motion, we approve the rezoning.
Okay, we have a motion made. Is there a second? All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any additional questions or discussion about that?
The grandfathered in for the first school year. If we see, I'm sure we're going to encourage those that are in this zone to probably go to Jacks Creek.
Correct.
Would there by any chance be a point where we would have to move some, even ones that were? I mean, they're only going to be in East Chester for so many years, but.
Well, and again, given the circumstances we've had the years past, 1 year when I was, East Chester got at capacity, well above capacity, and we were forced to have to move guys and girls, students, to Jacks Creek. We had to actually bus them outside of where they were to those locations because of the capacity had already been reached to the east. We're going to be very attentive to it. In the transition between the April 2023 registration for kindergarten, which is usually the dates that we use for kindergarten registration, from April through the summer, we're able to decide where, with out-of-county tuition, students who request to come into Chester County, that gives us that window of time that we can look at the out-of-zone requests that are made to us each year and see who can we let in and not let in based on the numbers. So, having them go, some this past year did not go through my office that were granted prior to. No penalty, no foul. But this year, everything's going to have to go through my approval because I'm going to be very conscientious of how many students we have at each campus.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? All right, if none, all those in favor of approving this adjustment say aye. Any opposed? All right, the request has been approved. The next item we have to look at is a request to approve the Director of Schools, Mr. Kilder, to sign and approve any settlement agreements that might come regarding the Juul Electronic Cigarette Company lawsuit that we entered into a few months ago. There is some action on that coming to kind of a conclusion soon, so we want to be prepared. If you want to add to that.
Well, what I can add to that from the narrative that you had is I spoke to Hardeman County's director just yesterday. The settlement is very small. I don't know what the settlement amount is yet, but again, this is across the nation. We entered this because at the high school and at the junior high, we've had issues with vaping. We are not unique in that way. It has hit just about every district around us. McNary had a big event last week where their sewer line burst in the middle of the parking lot. Quite a sight to see on video. I'm glad I wasn't there to see and experience the whole thing. But one of the culprits because of that was because of all the vaping that had been flushed down the commodes that had congregated. So again, what is included here was recommendations from the attorney out of Nashville for Lewis Thomason, Chris McCarty, that said that one step that would have to do for the board and the board minutes reflected is that motion that's included in italics in your packet, but it was also included in your handout that was given to you. It's the same verbiage that's bold-faced to allow me that opportunity to grant the authority for that approval of whatever that settlement is. But again, I don't know what the dollar amount is, and Christy Smith of Hardeman County didn't tell me. She said it's not that large. So I don't expect it is, but even the agreement back a few years ago when we got involved with this, we said that we were going to take whatever resources I had and apply it to any type of campaign to say no vaping, or diminish the opportunities, or at least encouraging the kids to find other resources and interests.
So what we need to approve, if the board agrees, is to grant the authority for the director of schools to approve and sign any settlement agreement related to our litigation with Jewel and the other defendants, and to accept any related settlement funds on the school system's behalf moving forward. That is the motion. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion, we move, grant that authority.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, so that recommendation is approved. The last business item we have tonight is another request. It's approval of a construction management for the latest capital project we have working at the Sealy property. Of course, we're working on new CTE projects for ag and our auto mechanics, and that is, if you've been by there lately, you see things are happening, so we'll give an update on that and reasoning behind this request.
Well, included in your packet again was my capture of the notes that I took from the last meeting that we had at the board office on the 21st of December. And at that meeting, Clay and Ben, Britt, myself, and then two representatives from E&T Contracting, John Mark Williams and Edward Jones was there. The discussion was specifically about the benefits construction management. And again, I provided some narrative. I'm sure Ben and Clay can provide some if there's need to from some other's perspective. My perspective and my support of moving that direction is that I'm an educator for life. I'm not a construction manager. To say that I am full knowledgeable about all the ins and outs and bells and whistles that is it where you need it or whether they want it being included in the planning. I know that, and I reflected in here from the construction cost involved with the east side of the high school addition that we added a few years ago. There was some redundancy of things that were added that were pitched to us in the plans that I didn't have the knowledge base and experience to say that's redundant. Should have. I do now, but I didn't know then. And then with the cost that we have approved for both the baseball and the softball facilities, those are very costly structures that I feel like that if somebody was approaching from the construction management side, again, their role is different than just approving the plans. They do more because of their work experience and knowledge. They can usually, and as I say here, maybe it's just a cost-neutral event because there is an additional charge with that service, but it could be a cost savings and not just a cost-neutral. But at least you're more confident and not looking at what I look at when I go to the east wing of the high school and then think about that redundancy every time I walk through the halls, So that's my justification.
I think not only, even if it is a cost neutral, time is money. So the faster we get it done, the faster we would enjoy it. And having somebody there driving, driving the horses and pushing it, to me, that makes sense because, as you said, everybody that works in the school is educators. They're paid to educate, or run buses, or run. Coach Eads has plenty of maintenance to do out outside of a capital project. So to me, it makes sense, even if it's cost neutral or costs a little bit of money, just because of the timeline and, like you said, the redundancy of the things that happened in the past. So I'm a fan.
The construction manager knows what we want. He isn't necessarily gonna push everything like Troy mentioned, and they don't have to call. Like Clay mentioned there, I mean, he's on site to answer questions and make sure it gets done right then without calling 10 people. He's the man. So, and that's what, we may pay him well to do that, but I think it's less headache on everybody's part. And then, just like Clay said, get it done. I mean, once you start, you don't want to drag your feet.
Is there a motion to approve this construction management for the project plans we have at the Seaton property?
I make a motion.
Second.
Right, motion has been made and seconded. Any additional questions or discussion about that? If there are none, all those in favor, say aye. Are there any opposed? All right, so that request is approved. The final thing we have tonight is just any updates of, of course, Mr. Pilger shares some monthly updates as well on vision and other projects we have going on in the school system. So any questions or anything you'd like to share?
Well, I would like to add, if you did pull out the vision topic, which was the work ethic distinction, in the last several years, where our emphasis has been moving to be more preparing our students for the work-ready setting, where they are not only investing in higher education for the sake of earning a degree, but they actually have a goal in mind of what they plan to do with that degree or certification. Today we had a wonderful meeting with all the seniors at Chester County High School with the Tennessee Achieves, which are state dollars that are afforded to every senior meeting a certain level of criteria. Attending these meetings is one, doing community services two, having a FAFSA completed, and the investment of those monies that students can have, for example, as the host said today for the meeting, it would pay for any TCAP certification program, whatever a student chose to do, an associate degree, it would literally pay for those TCAP certifications. So it would be cost effective for a student to do these things. But what I'm hearing from the local industry and businesses often when they talk about hiring people in Chester County or in the local communities, they often talk about the lack of soft skills that the new employees have. Getting to work, working on time, putting in a good day of work, coming drug-free, and being alert and productive. You know, having those good choices and good life skills that makes them a productive employee. A few weeks ago, there was a conversation on a virtual meeting where there was a mention about this work ethic distinction. This is not an extra requirement for students to do other than getting themselves in an attention, or like it says here, a distinction that will be recognized at least at graduation, where the criteria for that is 13. There's 13 criteria that they would pick from. They don't have to have all 13 at the top level. What they have to do is accrue at least 32 points minimum and have a high school diploma to be able to qualify for this work ready or work ethic distinction. It does give a great resume identifier for these local industries, local businesses, when they often say that their main target is they can train their folks to do the job. One thing that they would like to see kids come with is the work skills, the productivity that they need to have to be that good employee. So this is going to give us another opportunity to accentuate the skills that we also, and I hope you've had a chance to look through that, all of these are skills that we would hope all of our employees that work with us and work for us have. But if you had any questions with those, I'll be willing to answer. But I felt like it was a good direction in the path. Right now, Miss Allie Rogers at the high school is going to be tasked from the school leadership to hold, or at least keep account of what students are prepared for, to do these work ethic distinctions. And then, like I said, for those students that qualify with 32 points or higher, they'll be recognized for graduation for that.
Any other questions or updates that anybody has to bring before the board tonight?
So it's like 50%. You only have to reach 50% of these to get those points. There are a lot of points available.
Well, you got a lot of choices, yes, correct. You know, you may, because some kids, some students may not take an industry cert. Most of them will. Our efforts are to increase the innovative school model that the board approved a few years ago. All of that is working toward having the flexibility within our school day for our high school students, where they can have that time invested in work-based learning opportunities. Got a wonderful story, a young lady named, last name Wolper. She's with the Ag, or has gone through with Miss Teresa Krause. She did a work-based learning event with quality stamping last week or 2 weeks ago. They offered her a full-time job. So she's already seeing and reaping the benefits of what we hope to gain, and not just do it with 1 or 2 kids, but to have it to be more systemic, more frequent, because our kids, again, Chester County has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the state. And then where we're also showing the best thing that we can market is the quality of our human capital. That's what we can market. We may not have all the industry and all the businesses of our local neighbors or other counties, but we can produce good quality employees that you would want to hire. And if we can keep pitching that and keep showing evidence of it with time after time with different students actually leaving the high school setting and really considering a career wage job, whether it's a year, 2 years, or maybe 3 weeks later, then we're having that opportunity, and it's getting pushed out into public eye, and then they know that when you see somebody that graduated from Chester County High School, that has meaning to something beyond just getting a diploma.
It's worth their investment.
That's right.
Because they're all desperate right now.
That's right.
And then they start investing in like quality manufacturing. That's right. For Watermelon's different.
Would this apply to our current seniors?
Yes, it would. I don't know how well they would do, but yes, it would apply to the current seniors. Yes, it would. Because some are already working toward this, and some, again, it's not something that we just now started raising the bar of attention to, like attendance, or the number, like I said, CTE 4 standards that they're doing, how many industry certs, work-based learning opportunities. We've got students in multiple career paths that are already doing that, so they would be paid.
Anything else needs to come before the board tonight? All right, if not, our next meeting will be Thursday, February 23rd. The meeting site will be at Chester County High School on the 23rd. With that being said, that is the end of our agenda, so the meeting is adjourned.